Do a little quick commercial. But stick with us. I'm Kaye Dee of the Kaye Dee in Motormouth Radio Show, broadcast on WEOM 103.1 FM in Thomasville, North Carolina. And I'm here with my special guest, Black Leaf, talking about the video game industry and gaming. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. I listen to the best gospel station in Thomasville, North Carolina. That would be WEOM 103.1 FM.
Thomasville, North Carolina. Entertainment talk radio at its best with Kaye Dee and Motormouth on Crucial Conversations on 103.1 WEOM FM.
I'll classify what you're into as far as what you do.
It's basically like a seeker of knowledge. I am a gamer mainly, but I like to at least try and expand my horizons. So I guess in a way you could say that I am a jack of all trades.
Yeah. So how long have you been into gaming?
I've been doing it for a while. Kind of felt like I popped out with a controller in my hand. So
popped out, yeah. Meaning from birth.
Yeah.
So what is it about gaming that's so fascinating to you? I mean, a lot of people, especially with a certain generation, they don't have a clue when it comes to video games. They're thinking about something like Pac-Man, back in the day kind of stuff. So what is it about gaming that you think is exciting, and what is it that you like about it that makes you keep doing it for the length of time that you've actually been into it?
Well, whenever I first started gaming, it was around when the Sega Genesis 16-bit system came out. Mm-hmm. And he had games like Sonic the Hedgehog, Kid Chameleon, even Street Fighter.
And to clarify, I'm sorry, we should probably say what gaming is. A lot of people, I don't want to assume. Gaming is what? It's like playing what?
Well, it depends.
Video games? Is it online, offline, in an arcade? Like, what kind of gaming are we talking about?
It depends on the environment and the type of personality the person has and how. What do you like to do? Where do you like to game? You like to walk in a physical location, or do you like to do it on a computer? Or well, to be honest with you, arcades are kind of becoming extinct, so it's kind of hard to actually find a place to go sit down.
They're no longer video arcades. I wasn't aware of that.
Because due to the fact of the expansion of the internet and online gaming, there isn't really too many places where you can go, especially as like a young teenager, even an older adult, to go play video game in the public.
So what's replaced the walk-in arcade with just the Pac-Man machine? What's replaced it? Is it just everything is online now?
Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo.
Oh, they've taken over. Huh?
Yeah, basically everything is online. You don't have to call your friend Billy up and say, "Hey Billy, it's time to go to the arcade. Let's go. I got 50 quarters." No.
So what's the biggest benefit of going online? I'm just curious as to why. Is it just the convenience? Do you have more options? Why is it that the people that are in the gaming have gravitated toward online versus walking in? Is it a bigger social outlet? Like what's the big thing?
Because I think it's kind of been forced on them.
Forced?
To be honest with you. I don't like online gaming too much. I do play with my friends online, but even still, whenever those options are there, you go play online, and it's great to play somebody, across the pond, say in England or Japan or whatever.
Oh, okay. So you actually have a wider perspective as far as who you actually
you have a wider range.
You can play with anybody in the whole world. Is what you're saying? I never thought about it from a wider point of view. But
it's just like meeting somebody. The game randomly generates and it populates people into a server.
Oh, I didn't know that. So it's random selection statistics. That's kind of cool. As far as who you end up playing, do you have a choice as far as accepting or denying who you?
No, not necessarily. No? It depends. There's some games that do have filters, but then there's other games that just say it's you. They'll throw you into a server full of people, or if it's you and 3 other friends, then they'll throw you and your friends to a server full of people. But for the most part, it's just random,
That's kind of cool.
Which is one reason why I don't like it, because what if you just want to play with your friends? Some games require you have 16 people to play with, but what if you just want to go into a server with 4 of your friends? Some games you can't do that with. So
it does it just depend on the game? You don't. Well, I think I get what you're saying. Is it that it takes the personal interaction out of it, or does it just make it more challenging? to be able to do it that way?
The first thing you said, the personal interaction. Usually, whenever you interact with somebody for the first time, you have a conversation with them. You try and find your likes. You try and find their dislikes, and from the very first time you talk to that person, human interaction requires you to break the ice, so to speak.
Right.
You might open up with a joke, or you might start a topic saying, this doesn't make any sense, and then the other person might say, yeah, I agree, and then you guys start kicking it off.
Oh, okay.
Seeing as how everything is online, there's no real chance to do that. It's just
okay. Well, we're going to take a quick station break because I have a few more questions about the gaming, because it is an industry that's growing in popularity and it's growing in leaps and bounds. And like you said, it's even replacing the walk-in old school, as I call, video arcades. And it's an industry I've always been curious about, and I have a few more questions I want to ask about, and I appreciate you being here. But in the meanwhile, we're going to take a small station break. This is Kaye Dee with the Kaye Dee and Motor Mouth Radio Show, broadcast on WEOM 103.1 FM in Thomasville, North Carolina. We'll be back in a moment.
Live and in full effect, this is Black Leaf online. And whenever I listen to the radio, I listen to WEOM 103.1 FM.
Thomasville, North Carolina. Entertainment talk radio at its best with Kaye Dee and Motormouth on 103.1 WEOM FM.
Well, thanks for staying tuned with us. I'm Kaye Dee of the Kaye Dee and Motormouth Radio Show, here with my special guest, Black Leaf.
Yes, I logged on and I'm ready.
And we're talking about the gaming industry as a whole. It is a large industry. I think it's like $1 billion a year industry, to be honest. It's a business, and it's growing. And I'm trying to find out what is so fascinating, because I am not a gamer, but I'm fascinated with the concept of everything that was old school, back in the day, of the video arcade with Pac-Man and what was the other stuff that
Galaga,
was
Centipede.
Yeah, Centipede, and, it's been replaced. Like, what are the new games that's out now? What's the most hot, popping game that's out there right now, in your opinion?
Everybody is a Call of Duty fan.
Oh, a Call of Duty?
It's
Call of Duty?
Call of Duty. It's a war simulator. Everybody's a fan of that. Once I discovered Battlefield, I moved over from Call of Duty. You guys might not like me for saying that, but it's a little bit more realistic, despite all the crazy stuff that you've seen on YouTube. Like the guy jumping from one jet to another thing. That was just one of the few things in the game that isn't realistic, but for the most accurate war sim, I would say Battlefield is a lot better than Call of Duty. But that's just my opinion. I'm just wondering, I've noticed that with the gaming industry, I have enough statistics on anything, but why is it that most of the video games that I recall are gamed at males? Is it because males are the predominant players? Like, I can't think of one video game that's been popular. Popular meaning with Christmas time, holidays, people line up and get on a mission to be the first one to get it. What's up with that? Is it a male-dominated industry? They just chauvinistic or what? Do they not? Is it an industry that women they think would not be interested in? Because I know it's about making money. All business is about making money. But just the theme and the genre, war and battle. I mean, do they have anything out there for women that you're aware of, or do you not even look into that? But just curious. Well, and this is my opinion again. The typical girl gamer, she is probably familiar with all the games that are out right now. Yeah. Being that gaming is mostly male populated.
Yeah, I figured it was. Yeah.
It's mostly male dominated, but they do have games that do have strong female leads in them. Like, for example, there was a game back then called Tomb Raider.
Oh, I kind of remember that. Was the one with Lara
Croft? Yeah. But even though due to the fact that it is a male-populated industry, they did kind of corrupt her image, but she still remained popular. Also, they're doing a Tomb Raider remake, and they have redone the image of Lara Croft to better relate with
So was she wearing a nun habit or something?
No. She's not wearing a nun habit.
I mean, what are they gonna do to her image? You know, they're gonna make her look.
They just went back
a little bit more mainstream look. Or?
Nah, because usually whenever they do a mainstream look, especially over in Japan and other countries where they do cater more to the fan service needs of the male-dominated industry. Mm-hmm. They actually went back, took Lara Croft, brought you to the very start of her adventure and career, where she's a young lady. She's not as experienced in what she's doing, and she's just starting her adventures for the first time. So
they pretty much revamped her to a certain extent, but they've taken her back versus trying to update her more. I got you.
Yeah, they've actually made her.
Japan. Most of the video games do most of them originate from Japan? You think? Like, as far as the United States, I'm wondering, as far as the gaming being an industry, say you got some young person that's in school right now. I guess I'm trying to get to the business aspect of it. How logical or reasonable do you think it would be for someone to actually major in gaming in college? Because I know you can actually major in it right now.
Well, I haven't checked lately, but they said Georgia is one of the most popular states to major in gaming.
Oh, it is?
Also...
So you think you could actually make a career out of gaming? Is what I'm trying to get to.
It is possible, but you also have to keep in mind, just like how everybody wants to be a rapper or a singer, and then they've got like thousands and thousands, even millions of people
they want to be gamers.
Even the major companies will give you a chance. Like Xbox has a Xbox arcade game, Xbox indie games, where you can take your own custom created game and put it online so everybody can download that game.
Wow.
I don't know if PlayStation has any type of setup like that, because mainly I'm an Xbox gamer. Just by preference, Xbox is more so for sports games and shooting, in my opinion. PlayStation is for more of a fighting type games, and Nintendo is just like, hey, I'm in front of the TV swinging a remote control at it type game.
Nintendo? Oh my gosh.
I just can't get down with the Wii, despite the fact I do have a Kinect for the Xbox, which I don't really use, because I don't, it's kind of hard to play a game standing in front of a TV. And the types of games that I play, it would look kind of weird. I'd probably end up in a funny farm in no time if somebody looked through the window and just saw me just swinging at the TV all crazy.
I got you. So your preference is the Xbox. I got you.
Yeah, I'm an old school gamer. I've always grown up on a controller, so for everything like they're doing now, it's kind of hard for me to make the transition.
Got you.
But they are... they're doing some wonderful things with gaming. It's getting really great, and
like, where do you see it going? Just taking an educated guess. You think it's going to continue to grow? Like, what do you like about it? Because it definitely has a fan base that when people start, they stick to it consistently, even as from childhood to teenage year to their adulthood, they stick with it. So I'm just wondering, is it just something to release stress, or do you think it's going to phase out, or do you think it's going to continue to grow?
It's been here for this long. I can only see it growing.
Yeah.
Like I said originally, I've played since the days of the 16-bit. I've even played old school 8-bit Nintendo, and I've seen things evolve from pixels to 3D to
the graphics have changed a lot.
The graphics are just amazing now, and as long as the storytelling as well is well crafted, then I could see.
So it kind of sounds like any other genre. You have to have skills. You have to have the look to keep people interested. The graphics needs to stay updated with the time, and you have to have a storyline. I never thought about a storyline in a game, but I guess you do. You have to have a storyline.
You have to have a great storyline.
Great storyline. Okay.
In my opinion, I mean, as long as you can make a story that's actually gonna pull the character in and not just say, here's a storyline, play the game. That's
gotcha.
That's boring. But
it's probably why Lara Croft, what's the name?
Lara Croft.
Lara Croft. I just remember the Tomb Raider phase. Maybe that's why she was so popular also. And I think Angelina Jolie in real life was Tomb Raider, so the two kind of connect real life with the animation gaming life.
But anytime they mix movies together along with video games, they don't usually end up too well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they change the storyline in those.
Oh, okay.
Like the only good movie I can think of that was based on a video game is probably Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat, yeah, I remember that phase. And what about the other one, the Indiana Jones series? What didn't they make a couple of video games out of that?
Actually,
also?
the movie came first from the video game.
Okay.
But usually, anytime they make a video game into a movie, it's like they forget what the whole base storyline of the video game is, and then they just throw in whatever. Like the worst movie I've ever seen that was based on a video game was, off the top of my head, Doom the movie. And I've played Doom since, 95 back then. Actually, I can't remember when the first one came up, but Doom was around back in the 90s, and they just completely messed up the movie, despite the fact that it had The Rock and Carl Urban in it, which, Carl Urban, in my opinion, is a great actor. They just... The storyline...
It had The Rock in it also?
The Rock was in it.
Oh, okay.
The storyline just was incredible. And they completely threw everything out the window and just made up their own storyline.
So it sounds like to be a gamer, if you're going to make a career out of gaming, because I realize that some people actually majored in software design where they only focus on making games. But I guess it's pretty much like anything else. Like you mentioned earlier, a lot of people walk around claiming that they're producers. So you have a lot of people that walk around claiming they're gamers. But to me, it sounds like you have to have your skill set just like in any other industry. You have to have the ability to be creative, if I'm understanding you right. You have to have basic skills. What about design skills?
Well,
software skills?
As far as the development of video games, it's not just, it's not just programming, it's character development. You have to be able to sketch out character designs. There's also voiceovers if you're gonna have the main character in the video game speak, or any of the characters in general. Level design. I'm
assuming you have to be a little technical and a little creative based on everything that you're saying. Gotcha.
It can be anything ranging from story development / character development to graphical programming and the more higher up computer skills.
So it sounds like it's a genre where you have different areas where you could tap in on what you like the best, I guess is what you're saying. If you're going to make it a career path, but it's doable, but you have to be serious about it, is what I think you're saying. Just like everything else, you have to be serious about it and know what you want to get out of it, what you want to do.
If you have a passion for it, and you do want to do it, I think as long as you focus on it and do the best that you can, God will help you out in the end, and He will help you pursue that career. And even if you even if you don't progress in one development house, say for example, if you don't progress in a 343 Industries, which is the company that made the Halo series, then you might be able to go over to say a Blizzard, or actually Blizzard North is gone, but you might be able to go over to Blizzard and progress over there. They're the people that made games such as StarCraft. So if you don't do well in one design house, there's always a chance of doing well in another one, and vice versa. If you do wonderfully in one production house, then you might be able to go to another one if, say, they need somebody that's an expert in this field, or basically the more.
It sounds like you're saying you need to be passionate about it, and you need to stick with it if it's what you really want to do.
Just like anything, yes.
Just like anything else, right?
If you do, to quote one of my coworkers that I'm working with, if you're doing a job and you're going there and you hate it every day, then it's time to move on. You don't need to be doing it.
Right. It's about following your passion. But we're going to take a small station break. We got to pay a little bill. Do a little quick commercial. But stick with us. I'm Kaye Dee of the Kaye Dee Radio Show, broadcast on WEOM 103.1 FM in Thomasville, North Carolina. And I'm here with my special guest, Black Leaf, talking about the video game industry and gaming. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Kaye Dee and the Motor Mouth Show on 103.1 FM, WEOM, Thomasville, North Carolina. Kaye Dee, I got businesses, organizations, and groups calling us and asking how can they get their message to our Crucial Conversation audience.
Well, Motormouth, is really easy. If you have a service or a product or an event that you would like to share with the Crucial Conversation audience, just email us. We can be located at radio@dnadigitalmediagroup.com. That's radio, RADIO, at D as in David, N as in Nancy, A as in Apple, digitalmediagroup.com for details. We look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for staying with us, guys. I'm Kaye Dee of the Kaye Dee and Motormouth Radio Show, broadcast on WEOM 103.1 FM in Thomasville. And I'm here with my special guest, Black Leaf, and we're talking about the gaming industry. Now, Black Leaf, I am curious. We mentioned the shooting in Colorado, the Batman, the media, the desire for the public to want to assess blame. And using either a game or music or a movie or something to try to make sense out of sometimes things that are just not sensible. But I'm curious about, where do you see the gaming industry going in the future? Is there anything that's coming out that you can't wait to see come out? And then I'm also curious about not just where it's going, but as far as getting together online. I'm still kind of stuck on how this really works. When you guys get together online, is it like a big social outlet? Do you have to pay to do this? Is it free? How does it really work as far as getting online? Say I wanted to get online and just try to play a game. I probably won't, but I'm just curious. Do I have to go to a certain place? Do I have to pay? I mean, how does it really work?
Well, back then, whenever you had a group of friends, you could do something that was called a LAN party.
LAN party?
Where you hook all your computers. You'd bring your computer, your friends would bring theirs, so on and so forth. You could even do the same thing with the old school Xboxes and even the new ones. But you would basically, a LAN party, local access network, LAN, you would hook all your computers together and play that way back then. Now, you've got Xbox Live and you got the PlayStation Network. I think even the Wii might have something. I'm not too familiar with it. But when you log in or whenever you have a party, a group of people.
So you can have a gaming party online.
Well, the party is just a term for the people that are in the in the same room as you.
Gotcha.
Be it your friends or people you might have given your gamer tag to and hooked up with online. Your party is then taken into a quay. So you might have, say, 4 people in your party. Strategically placed all over the world. Doesn't matter where they're located. There's just one thing in common. Everybody wants to play this game. Exactly. Okay. And do you have to pay for this? Or again, you don't have to pay for it anymore? It depends on who you go with. To be on Xbox Live, you can do it month. You can either pay monthly, pay every 3 months, or pay for every year. So you do have to pay to a certain extent. Whether I got you. Well, it depends. Like I was saying, it's either Xbox you have to pay, PlayStation is free. Okay. But you also have to keep in mind that the money that you pay is going to be used to help maintain servers and make sure that there's no negative side effects to your gaming. Because if you think back, PlayStation Network got hacked by some hackers a long time ago. There's always somebody in cyberspace trying to hack somebody. That's the way all the time. It's crazy. I can guarantee you, even though Microsoft hadn't been hacked, I think somebody's probably working on it. Probably. Wow. But also, as far as what I'm looking forward to in the future, as far as games coming out, one that's coming up is actually pretty interesting. It's part of the Assassin's Creed series. Assassin's Creed again. What about the girls? Well, there's it's funny that you say that. Assassin's Creed. They put out. No, the storyline behind Assassin's Creed is very deep. It's a good storyline. It's a really good storyline. Okay, I'm being open minded. All right, go ahead. Basically, they picked this guy in the first one. They picked this guy up off the street. They didn't know why. He didn't know why they wanted him, but they started running these tests on him with a computer that could delve deep into his mind. His ancestors were part of an assassins guild that were fighting the Templars. So you had the assassins versus the Templars. The Templars wanted to get together and find artifacts, biblical artifacts, if you will. That's kind of deep. They wanted. One of them was the Apple of Knowledge, which is actually pictured in several different, I think, realistic historical pieces of artwork.
I like the metaphors in it. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
The apple's supposed to represent the apple that fell off of
in the Garden of Eden and everything. I got you. Okay.
And the assassins basically want to keep the Templars from getting these artifacts because they know that they're going to use these artifacts for evil. And granted, I mean, you know, there's.
I like the storyline in that. That's kind of deep if you think about it. You can analyze that and write a theme paper. Okay.
Now, granted,
a thesis paper on that one. That's kind of interesting.
Basically, but granted, there has been some break off games because you've had Assassin's Creed, which is the first one, Assassin's Creed 2. Then the break off games would be Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and Revelations. So
these are interesting metaphors. Revelations, okay.
And each time that they bring out a game, I think that because I haven't played Brotherhood or Revelations, but I do love the series. The main branch of the series is based on a guy. His name is Desmond, and they delve into his memories to try and find out where these artifacts are. The Templars.
I like the name too, Desmond. Kind of reminds me of Destiny. Okay, I have a wild imagination. Go ahead. Maybe I need to be writing stories. Go ahead. I like the thing.
But the first game it takes place way in the future. These guys are going back into the ADs whenever they delve into his memories because his memories are in his DNA.
Okay.
So the more DNA the more they analyze his DNA, the more he becomes kind of one with his ancestors, because before he didn't have the skills to be an assassin. In the second one, he started to synthesize. I think the word is synthesize with the DNA to the point where he could bring his ancestors' skills out back into the future and use them. So
I like that.
So in the third one, and each game is taking place in a different time period. The first one was around the Crusade type period. Second one was during the Renaissance. The third one is going to be great because it's going to take place between the American Revolution.
Now I don't know the game, but I like the concept. I like the story. Again, it goes back to the skills that you need to get in the game and to actually learn to develop a video game. Sounds like you kind of need to know a little history too.
Oh yeah,
you need to be kind of a well-rounded. I like that though.
And plus, it's not just limited to one race. It's in these games they start you off as it wasn't Arabian. I can't remember the race of the first.
So you have to have a global idea too, is what it sounds like. Global, international concept, just to begin to seriously develop.
This game has had an Italian as a main character, and then the third one he's going to be a Native American.
Wow!
And also to get back to the female perspective,
what about the girls?
One of the breakaway games. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's going to be on the new PSP Portable. Is going to feature I think she is black mixed with English.
Your sisters on the video.
Yeah, she's.
They really do. Okay.
She's black mixed with English, I believe. And she's going to be the main protagonist in the game.
All right.
And I think it's gonna.
And she's gonna be a main protagonist. Now, let me guess. Is her antagonist gonna be a female? You think it's gonna be a male looking? Probably.
Well, actually, the antagonist it's because she is part of the Assassin's Brotherhood.
Oh, okay.
And Assassin's Brotherhood is a whole collective that
gotcha.
is gonna fight the Templars, which is another collective. So the Templars being evil and Assassins being good. Now, in the main storyline, the protagonist, the main protagonist, is always going to be a male, Desmond. But in the breakaway storylines, it could change up because the Brotherhood is composed of male and female.
True.
But speaking of strong female,
it's like Mankind Brotherhood. I'm liking this storyline. Maybe I need to be writing story. I like this. Go ahead.
But speaking of female leads, another game I'm looking forward to that's coming out is going to be Resident Evil 6.
Are you serious? A game for Japan called Biohazard.
See, whenever a game comes over here, just like some movie titles, we change it to fit the American population. Right. So instead of being called Biohazard,
I bet in Japan it has another name, right? Because
Biohazard was the original name, but whenever it came over here, it was called Resident Evil, which is basically a game based around a corporation called the Umbrella Corporation, which is basically they've got their hands in almost everything, and they're very corrupt. These guys, they might do some good work up on top of the servers, but underneath they develop weapons used for terrorism, especially bioweapons, which basically they create strands of viruses that have different effects on people, which create the main enemies in the game, which is zombies, basically.
Ooh, I'm sitting here thinking a million things. The metaphors and the similes and everything you just said is just kind of interesting. I can take everything you just said and relate to certain aspects in real life that's not in gaming. That would just kind of be again an interesting thesis paper.
Bird flu, swine flu. I mean, because it
can
relate to the real world.
All of the above.
Now you take that corporation, which might as well
that corporation could relate. We're probably thinking the same thing.
They might as well be professional terrorists. Yeah. But within legality of doing whatever they want because they've got money. Right. And they have sold.
And all under the guise of an umbrella corporation too, which that kind of works the same way in real life also. That's interesting.
And they have sold to terrorists as well. You know, to I guess test their weapons.
Exactly.
And the main protagonist in the game, the first one, they started off in a unit called STARS, Special Tactics and Rescue. They originally lost their squad in an Umbrella mansion that was actually a test facility. And the virus got loose in the mansion. And, I mean, all their experiments...
That would be a good movie, too.
They actually did.
That would be a great movie. Oh, I'm not surprised.
Sorry, yeah, that's another movie.
That would be a good movie.
Which, you know, people don't like, and this is a movie that's got Mila Jovovich in it. It's a completely different branch of the storyline, but it still does involve the storyline. I happen to like the series of movies. But most people that are, you know, like anybody true and passionate to the storyline aren't going to like it.
Right.
But the thing is, I saw the movie before I played the game. So I think that's probably why I'm a little bit more lenient towards it.
Yeah, it's kind of like when somebody takes a movie, somebody takes a book and makes a movie, an adaptation from a book. Everything that really transfer over as far as telling the story and getting people to kind of connect with the characters the same way. And normally, if I read a book first and I go see a movie, I'm usually kind of disappointed in the movie. So it's probably the same thing with the software, you know, for the gaming industry.
Yes, I guess that's why I like it.
Because you get a little bit more time to get in debt with the first thing. You get the development is different versus when you... Because with a movie, let's be realistic, you can only develop so much. You got a shorter time period to kind of get a lot of things pieced together to kind of get you to connect with the characters. You can only tell so much.
Yeah, true.
The movie, so a lot of you really don't have time to develop and to put it out there.
Yeah,
you just have to hope that people get it and connect with it in order to get the big picture with the movie.
True, but that's why one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to the game because it's been around for a long time. That sounds
like an interesting game, though. That one sounds pretty cool. The storyline again.
The storyline is good.
The storyline sounds good on there. I like that.
And you know, like any good series, they've had their little breakaway series like Resident Evil Outbreak. The latest one that came out, Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, which was interesting because it takes you from the perspective of the company. Because in the testing facility, the mansion that was that I mentioned in the first one, was located in a city, fictional city, I believe, called Raccoon City. And seeing as how the virus got out in the mansion, along with some of the experiments, you know, for example, there was a shark that they put their virus in, which was the T virus, tyrant virus. It mutated the shark. The shark was huge. A great white shark that was huge. Had the nerve to call it Neptune.
I have a wild imagination. I'm sitting here going...
It could...
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm just thinking about so many things in real life that can relate to everything with this so-called imaginary game.
They had a huge
Why do I
shark.
feel like somewhere in real world right now there's a real scientist injecting something into something that's going to have implications that we're not even aware of yet. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, even in historical times, there were sharks that were naturally that big.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had giant tarantulas. They had zombie dogs. They had these mutated creations called hunters, which those were like one of the enemies in the game you wanted to stay away from because they would just one hit you, which would basically mean your life is gone.
But I know in history we've also had, well, I don't want to say proof, but we've also had people, archaeologists that have done studies and dug up sites where they've actually discovered people that were larger than what we actually have walking on the planet now, and they can't really explain that either. But all that is interesting to me.
Well, the way it
comes together, it does make a nice game and a nice book and a nice movie too.
But the way they tie the virus together, the T virus, they found the first strand located in Africa. It came from flowers. It was used in a tribe was using the flowers to decide who the next king would be. I think after you made it through these trials, you would eat the flower, and if you survived, you would be the next king. If you survived. So the Umbrella Corporation.
If you survive, you need to be king.
Yeah, basically. So that's how the Umbrella Corporation got the T virus. They found the flowers, experimented on them, and created different viruses from them. Now, granted, it didn't just come from that one flower. The Umbrella Corporation, being the terrorists that they are, found different sources to create different types of viruses.
I'm not surprised.
So that's why I'm looking forward to the 6th one.
Somebody tell me this is just fantasy, not reality. Okay, it's fantasy now. But I swear it just reminds me of some things that have actually happened with plants and oils and natural resources in Africa, different regions in Africa right now that are being taken. Matter of fact, I did an interview for WEOM with Dr. Imani Ma'at, where we did a discussion about this African, I cannot think of the name of the plant. She was telling me about when she was in Africa doing her trials and her studies and how people from Asian countries would come over and I'm trying to think of the name of this plant. Can't remember, I'm sorry, but it was significant because she claims that she saw this plant doing wonderful things to people that actually had AIDS and were actually dying from the AIDS virus. Because she went over to study AIDS and HIV when she was working for this. Haiku is a Japanese poetry that she uses to try to get the youth to see the world and how they relate to it in a different perspective. But to get back on point a little bit, she discussed about things that she saw happening with plants from the rainforest and plants from different parts of Africa that had medicinal qualities that were actually, she said, like she was saying, she can't really say that they were the AIDS cure within the plants and the flowers, but it was fascinating how the qualities from these plants, and I cannot think of the name of the one plant in particular. I hate it, it's bugging me, I can't think of the name of it. But it gave people that were dying with AIDS relief, and she saw miraculous things occur with people that were actually given these plants while they were fighting the AIDS virus. You know, they had HIV, full-blown HIV. But it was interesting. She suggested, I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth, that a lot of the big boys, you know, the pharmaceutical companies and the big boys came to Africa, Southernandria or something like that. I can't think of it. Anyway, took this plant and took it, well, you know the story. It's not anything new.
Yeah.
Took the plant, harvested the region that it came in, pretty much took ownership of the flower, the dirt, the seeds and everything, and they're doing their own thing. And while all these people were still in Africa dying of AIDS, like lined up around the clinic that she was working in, she said that, you know, from sun up to sundown, people were just coming from all over trying to get help. Because, long story short, the plant that is native to Africa, I think it's called Southernandria. Don't quote me on it. It's actually been harvested and transported to Asian countries to give the people over there that had money to pay for the drug that were fighting the AIDS epidemic also. But, you know, that's nothing new. It's always something going on. But Africa is a place that has lots of natural resources, but unfortunately, the natural resources are not always there in the big picture to be able to help the people who are native to the land itself.
That never surprises me, especially like how they used to blame just farmers for the way they used to grow and rotate their crops out. They would use the slash and burn method, which
I've heard of that also.
Lessen the quality of the soil.
Exactly.
And whenever they got done farming one area and it was no longer farmable, they would move on to a different area, and they used to blame that on them, which, you know, they did have a part in that.
Right.
But at the same time, hearing stories like that, it's not just that slash and burn method. There's a lot more to it.
Right.
I would actually like to come back and talk to you about that as well.
Well, I would like to have you back. I mean, because I find it interesting that the gaming industry is taking off so much, and so many people trying to, I don't want to say get into gaming, but a lot of people claim they wanted to get into gaming just because they like to play video games. But I guess I like to try to present a broader perspective based around what it really takes if you're going to get serious about making any aspect of gaming being a part of your career long term, because it is a fascinating industry and it's growing, and you can actually make a nice living if you get serious about tapping into what's going on, because it's growing. It's a genre that's taking off just like everything else.
It's very good. It's very good to get into. It's got a strong community. Yeah. It looks like it's going to be around for a long time because it's an entertainment.
It's outlet. Entertainment again, and it's an outlet, just like movies and books and cinema, going to concerts and music and everything else.
But also the one more thing on the shooting in Colorado, just to follow up on it, and this is something that I've been talking about with a couple of my friends, because if you remember, I don't know if it was last year or maybe a couple of years ago when the senator got shot.
Wait, hold that thought. We're going to take one quick station break. Hold on, listeners. We'll be right back. It's Kaye Dee with WEOM 103.1 FM in Thomasville, North Carolina. We'll be back in a moment.
Enjoy your day. You're listening to Kaye Dee and Motormouth on 103.1 FM, WEOM, Thomasville, North Carolina.
You're listening to the best gospel station in Thomasville, North Carolina, 103.1 FM, WEOM.
You're listening to Kaye Dee and the Motormouth Show on 103.1 FM, WEOM, Thomasville, North Carolina.
Well, thanks for listening, guys. I am Kaye Dee, and I'm here with my special guest, Blackleaf, and we're going to wrap up the end of the show, which has been focused today on gaming and the gaming industry and the media and how the gaming industry has been related overall, like everything else. And Blackleaf, is there anything else that you want to leave us with as far as our mind thought, as far as the gaming industry overall?
Yeah, just don't look down on it. It's something that's actually interesting. It doesn't matter your age. You might actually be able to find something to get into. Also, it's not just something to waste time. They do have games that actually do help people out.
True. They have educational games too, but I don't know if that's what's the most popular. But
it's not.
But they do have them.
But they do have like I think some of the there's a game called Brain Quest, if I remember right.
Okay.
They use that for, I think it was stroke patients, to help them recover some of their skills.
That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
It's either Brain Quest or Brain Age. I mean, there's games out there that you'd be surprised how helpful they are to people.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the Wii game system. I think that's Nintendo. You mentioned that earlier. I know a lot of people got into the Wii game system because of the exercise. And a lot of people that were baby boomer age were into the Wii because of, not to get into the deep gaming and the new software that came out and the games itself, but they got into it because of the health involved. The health. If I'm right, I think the Wii system is the only system right now that kind of focuses more on health. They even have like a whole software package with health and yoga, Pilates, just kind of overall.
Well, actually,
exercise.
All three systems do try and focus on it.
Okay.
The Wii does have their little nunchuck.
Yeah.
The PlayStation has a PlayStation Move, and the Xbox has a Kinect, which is basically almost like using your full body as a controller.
Right.
And I know on the Xbox they do have a UFC trainer. They've got the Zumba fitness program on there.
Right, that's what I was trying to think of. Zumba fitness is popular.
I think all three of them have the Zumba fitness, because I know Wii does, Xbox does, and I'm going to assume that PlayStation does as well. Also, there's the Biggest Loser challenge on Xbox, which is actually based on the TV
based on
program.
the TV show, The Biggest Loser.
But all in all, to be honest with you, as far as health goes, you don't need a video game system to stay healthy.
Don't. You go old school.
You need to kick. kick kids outside after it's been a couple of hours, or if you're a teenager and you're playing a game all day, you need to get up because it's not healthy. And if you look over to
that's true. Because you don't get real physical exercise, you really don't.
Exactly, and there's been people that have actually died from staying in the same position.
What?
Over in I think the Asian countries.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. Like Japan and Korea, because you got to think about it. StarCraft is huge over in Korea, and I was at my job. I was playing around. There was a guy that worked for Korean Air. I said, because they had a StarCraft 747. It was pretty cool. It had Jim Raynor on the back of the tail, and it said StarCraft 2 on it, big letters. I was playing around. I'm like, how big is StarCraft over in Korea? He said, you're not a man unless you play StarCraft.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I guess that means it's huge, gigantic.
But there was somebody, I can't remember if it was Korea or Japan, but the guy played video games for 11 hours straight.
Now see, that's 11 hours straight. Yeah, I can see having some implications for that. I guess it's like anything else. Too much of anything is not necessarily good for you.
Well, it's just the fact that he wasn't moving. It caused his body to, I can't remember if it was...
It probably affected his circulation.
It was a circulation because I know...
11 hours?
I know you can develop blood clots if you stay in one spot without moving.
Right.
And also I think his body didn't have the proper rest that he needed, so it was kind of hard for it to keep going.
Wow.
But
so I guess it's like anything else, and you have to be logical and sensible about what you're doing.
It's either you're gonna die quick or you're gonna die slow, because if all you do is come home and game all the time, you're gonna get the munchies and basically develop a habit of eating, say, something quick like chips or
Let me guess. So you can run back to your video game?
Yeah, or if it's even on hand, you just eat it there. You eat the chips.
So you're getting the habit of munching on stuff versus actually eating and being aware of what you're eating.
The drinks
it makes sense to me.
The drinks are no better. Don't get me wrong. I love my Mountain Dew, but anything that'll get you a quick energy boost, say a Monster, a Amp, a Rockstar, Mountain Dew.
I guess it makes sense because you probably need energy. Plus, it's a kind of adrenaline kind of boost of the games. It makes sense to me.
I think it's mainly. And they call them MMOs, massive multiplayer online video games.
They call it what now?
MMO. Massive multiplayer online.
Okay.
For example, there was one I used to play, World of Warcraft. I could never really get into it. I could only play one class because it seemed like the class that suited me. Any other class that I tried to play in the game I didn't like.
So are you trying to say it's like an adrenaline boost, the game and everything around it?
It takes your life over.
The food, the lifestyle, just everything. It takes your life over.
It's not a healthy lifestyle. It takes your life over. They've actually had auctions on eBay where a guy would offer his skills to try and level up a character. Because games like this, which are MMO RPGs, massive multiplayer online role-playing games, you're supposed to take the role of a character in this storyline. And it's so addictive for some people to the point where they actually forego the usual things in their life other than their job, which seeing as how you had to pay for the game. or even
I'm laughing, but I get it.
Or better yet, some people actually did make a living. Like I was saying, the people that sell their skills on eBay, they made a living by leveling up World of Warcraft characters. And that's all they would do. And
what do you mean leveling up Modern Warfare? Level them up like, what does that mean? See, I'm not a gamer, so that's a new term to me.
Basically, there's a level system.
Okay.
Whenever you first start the game,
like all the points and everything, because you get points when you do this, right?
Points, yes. Whenever you first start off in the game, depending on the circumstance, because I have seen some games start you off at like level 2, 3, or 4.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
But you start off at level 1.
Okay.
So you have to work your way all the way up to whatever the level cap is, which is a feat in itself. When World of Warcraft first came out, I believe the level cap was either 60 or 70.
So these games have a cap as far as the skill level you can get at?
Yes, but...
And you can save them, like in a bank or an imaginary bank or something?
They're saved online.
They're saved online, okay.
You choose a server and you start a character. Mm-hmm. And that character will be saved online.
Gotcha.
Your experience points can be put into your skill points, which is basically whatever class you choose. Say, for example, I was a hunter. Mm-hmm. The hunter had the ability of long-range attacks with a rifle or a crossbow or a bow and arrow. Mm-hmm. And they also had the ability to tame a pet, which, you use to do the main up-close and personal fighting. Mm-hmm. The more skill points you put into, say, your survival skills, such as like... I can't remember what the survival skills entail because I didn't really use those. Mm-hmm. I used the Beastmaster skills. You could teach your pet rage, which would give them more harder hitting attacks and so on and so forth. Also, you could do bow and arrow attacks. There was a poison arrow. There was a...
So with all these attack things, I'm trying to get a big picture.
Well,
okay.
Here's how it ties in. The more experience points you have, the more points you can put into those skills in order to make your character better.
Oh, okay.
And in order to get more experience points, you need to play the game more, which in turn, that's what snagged up.
It's kind of like a catch-22. I got you. Everything is connected, and I got you.
And that's what.
So the goal is to get all these skill points, and if you get a certain amount, I got you now.
Well,
it's competition then, just like everything else.
Yeah, because they did have a...
You're competing against other people, but it sounds like you're competing with yourself to an extent also.
Well, they do have PvP competitions, which is player versus player. Mm-hmm. But as far as competing with yourself, I wouldn't even...
Well, I guess by that I mean it's just like when you're playing any other game, even golf. It's anything. You kind of have a personal thing if you're kind of competitive. You have a certain goal that you're trying to get to. So in a way, you kind of, I don't say psyching yourself out, but you're trying to competing with yourself to get to a certain point that you want to get at anyway.
I guess you could
say
that.
With the points. Yeah, so I guess with video games, it's kind of sort of the same thing.
In a sense, yeah, depending on the game. But I could never really get into World of Warcraft like that.
Okay.
No, I mean, I have done another game like that called Lineage 2, but... I guess I did kind of get involved on a World of Warcraft level with the Lineage 2 game because it seemed a lot cooler to me. I guess if you find that right game, you can...
Get on that level with it?
Yeah.
So, but the point that you're trying to make, people are on eBay selling these points? Selling their skill
No,
level?
these people would actually go into another person's account, play the game for them.
Oh.
So that way, whenever the other person...
You're going cheating.
Yeah. Basically, people still cheat.
Oh, my goodness.
People still cheat.
In a video game. Mm-hmm. Man, okay. But I'm thinking, I'm not going to get that deep with it, but I'm thinking, okay, with a video game, why I'm not even trying to figure that out. Why try to make rationality out of something that's not? I would just think, what would I get out of it to know that I really didn't get on that level, but to get somebody else to play for me to get on another level?
Some people just like going around having...
I think I would want the personal satisfaction of knowing that I did it. It's making any sense. Because it's a game.
It's an ego thing. Because some people just like going around with a super maxed out character and beating up all the people that aren't really...
Got you.
And they like to show off. But at the same time, just like a life experience, whenever you have played a game for so long and like each time you level up and you get a new skill, you personally know how that skill works because you've trained it.
Got you.
And the person that had to have somebody play for them, they might read about it, they might know this and that, but at the same time, they're not going to know effectively what the best combination of skills is. They're just going to have whatever preferences that the person did all the work for them.
Got you.
So,
but it's an interesting industry. It's just like everything else, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate you stopping by to talk about it.
Yeah, I'd love to come back.
I'm not really that big on knowing the gaming. I just know the gaming industry is huge, and it keeps growing every year. And like you said, career-wise, there are a lot of opportunities that, just like everything else is into it, that people can kind of, if you love the industry, if you love gaming, don't just look at it as something fun to do. Look at it long term to see whether or not it's something you would be interested in doing long term as far as a career.
That's actually what I've been looking into it for a while, but it's something I want to do because I would like to bring arcades back.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the biggest negative side effects on as far as gaming goes is that we don't really have any social outlets other than being online.
I can see that because it's kind of like everything else. It's kind of like Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, or whatever the name of this new thing is. If you think about it, the more everything goes online, the more as a society we're kind of becoming a little bit more isolated.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I mean, we order stuff online.
You can order everything online. You can get food online, clothes online. You can pay your bills online. It's gonna get to the point we won't even have to leave the house to do anything.
But
it's just like you have the good things about it. It's always again my famous word, that balance.
Yeah,
we're gonna get so isolated among ourselves in the computer. Are we gonna be able to actually get together in real life when we have to and be able to interact with real people? You know what I mean? Carry on a real conversation with a real person with social skills.
That's one of the biggest worries I have because there are gaming tournaments. Yeah. Like for example, the EVO tournaments just got finished. The EVO is basically a large fighting game tournament.
The EVO tournament?
Evolution tournament.
I thought you said evil tournaments. I'm like,
EVO,
gotcha.
short for evolution.
Gotcha.
It's a large fighting game tournament where they take games such as Street Fighter Cross Tekken. What else did they have? They had.
What are the prizes for these tournaments? I'm curious. Money?
Money and fame.
Wow.
Because one of the champions from previous EVO tournaments, I think it was it Justin Wong? Mm-hmm. I think he might have gotten beat recently. And I used to...
So I can see why people get into it. For the entertainment value, the entertainment aspect of it. It's something to do. It's an outlet.
It's a stress reliever
a stress reliever. And if you get on a certain level with it, you can possibly make some money with it.
But also, I would like to, like I was saying before, I'd like to bring arcades back because there does need to be a better... Not just on San Diego Comic-Con is coming. Maybe we can have a tournament over there, or we got the Dragon Con event happening in Atlanta, or we've got the Seattle Comic-Con. I mean, there's always going to be some type of convention,
right?
But as part of the gaming community, I believe that we shouldn't always have to pay just to get together.
True.
In an awkward. I mean, granted, there's going to be people there that but it still might be kind of awkward because you don't know these people personally. There needs to be kind of like
I get where you're going with this because the reality is there's a lot of people and a lot of children that would not like. Let's keep it real. Even though computers and the internet is pretty commonplace now, there's still a lot of people that don't have access to the web.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of people that don't have computers.
Oh, I dealt with that.
There's still a lot of people that have never even had the opportunity to even look at a video game of any kind. And like we said earlier, all video games are not about Warcraft. You do have educational software. You have math software. You have Spanish and foreign language software.
They actually came out with a Sesame Street
interactive
video game.
Interactive, exactly. You have things that, people are always quick to jump on the negative aspect of technology, but technology also provides positive outlets and positive aspirations for people that sometimes they might not even be exposed to it. And I think that's the key, exposure, because everybody doesn't have exposure, and if you don't have exposure to things, how are you going to know what you really like? Or you might have missed an opportunity to bump into something that you like, and then again, if you don't like it, you just scratch it off and you move on.
But that's why I'm trying to start some type of community. I just need some help with the business aspect. I mean, I've got a large plan to actually have some type of hometown arcade. Granted, it might start off here in Georgia, but once things get up and running, if I could go ahead and expand everything, then there would be places for people who are actually serious about gaming to meet up at again. Because I think one of the flaws of the arcade is the fact that, nobody thought beyond the Pac-Mans and the Galagas and, one of my favorites, the Alien versus Predator games or the Alien shooter games or so on and so forth. Granted, they still are big over in Japan, and I believe, but over here it's just a different story. We've taken so much to using the internet that it's basically segregated people in their own homes from the real world.
It really has, yeah. But, you know, it's all interesting, and I would love to have you come back. Maybe I have you be our resident gaming expert.
All right.
You can stop by anytime you want to update us on what's going on in the industry, because believe it or not, there are a lot of people that are into gaming. A lot of people. As a matter of fact, based on the statistic that I read a long time ago, there are more young men and adults into gaming.
Oh, yeah.
More so than children. And a lot of people just think it's a kid thing. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Even I've seen wrestlers, and I love wrestling. Like, you know, you got a CM Punk and Kofi Kingston there. Well, CM Punk said he was trying to get more into gaming, but Kofi Kingston,
that stuff is not real, don't you?
I'm going to have to come back on another show to talk about that.
Let me stop. Another day, another topic. It's entertainment. But a lot of people will feud you down tooth and nail that wrestling is real. Everything on it is 100% real. I'm like, okay.
It's a certain percentage.
Exactly.
I mean, WWE is it's almost like a rock concert. Vince McMahon's ideal.
It has a following just like everything else. But maybe we can come back and talk about wrestling and the integration of that into the gaming industry and animation and everything. Okay. Because it all kind of is under the same umbrella if you think about it.
Also,
in a roundabout way.
Just going to throw out a little tag here. If you have any questions or comments about, you know, whether or not you want to start a gaming group or...
you want the people to contact you. You tell them how to get in contact with you because, look, don't contact Kaye Dee and Motormouth about gaming because I'm like, duh. But if you'd like to get in contact with Black Leaf, tell the people where they can contact you, email, website, whatever you want to do. It's your choice. Go for it.
Website I'm currently working on, but I believe the email is strictlygamer@gmail.com.
Okay, it's spelled just like it sounds, strictly, STRICTLY, gamer.
Yes, ma'am.
At gmail.com. Well, Black Leaf, thank you for coming by. I sure appreciate it.
Oh, also, I forgot. I have, and it's not just, I might try and open it up to other people, but I was actually trying to find more black gamers because it seems kind of hard for me to find people like that around here.
But you know, that's a topic that I want you to come back and talk about because reality is gaming, in my opinion, is kind of tied to technology. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is also tied into computer programming, software development. And right now, in the African American, even though it's not just a black thing, but it is because, again, the problem is there's a lot of people right now that are missing on possible opportunities to get into gaming. I mean, the business aspect of it, because they're not focusing on technology, science, math, and these are areas that are lacking, especially in the black community.
We will definitely
need to get on it.
We definitely have to come back and talk about that. But
we need to come back. We need to break that down a little bit.
If you're actually interested in looking for other black gamers as well, there's a Facebook group that I've started called Dark as Night.
Do a shout out for the Facebook group.
It is DARK space AZ space, and I believe night is spelled KNIGHT.
Dark as AZ. Spell it one more time for the people that's listening. Might be interested. They'll hunt you down on Facebook if they're into it. Go for it.
It's Dark as Night. DARK space AZ space KNIGHT.
Okay, Dark as Night. Well, we got you. Well, I appreciate that, Black Leaf. And I guarantee you we're going to have you back on WEOM. And again, this is Kaye Dee. I appreciate my listeners. Thanks for listening and hanging in with us, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Black Leaf, thanks for stopping by. I wish you all peace and grace.
All right, and good game to y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Live and in full effect, this is Black Leaf online. And whenever I listen to the radio, I listen to WEOM 103.1 FM with Kaye Dee and Motormouth. Peace.
These are the boys, Love Chronicles Part 1.